All day I think about it. Then at night I say it. Where did I come from? And what am I supposed to be doing? I have no idea. My soul is from elsewhere. I'm sure of that. And I intend to end up there. This drunkenness began in some other tavern. When I get back around to that place, I'll be completely sober. Meanwhile, I'm like a bird from another continent, sitting in this aviary. The day is coming when I fly off. But who is it now in my ear who hears my voice? Who says words with my mouth? Who looks out with my eyes? What is the soul? I cannot stop asking. If I could get a taste of one sip of an answer, I could break out of this prison of drunks. I didn't come here on my own accord, and I can't leave that way. Whoever brought me here will have to take me home. This poetry, I never know what I'm going to say next. I don't plan it. When I'm outside, the saying of it, I get very quiet and rarely speak at all. Nothing you can know about yourself is you. You might say, I know my name, I know my story, I know what happened to me, I know everything about me. But who is this I that knows? Is it your mind that knows? Who's aware of your thoughts? Who is aware that you're thinking? Who is aware when your emotions change? Who is aware of all of this? Who are you? Who am I? Do you really think these things that pass through you, that you experience internally and externally, could somehow define who you are? Could somehow define everything about you? Where does it stop? Where does it begin? Who are you? You can't be something you're aware of. You can't be something that changes. Well, if you say, oh, I'm happy right now, and then later you're sad, which one was you? Both? Or were you experiencing both but remaining as the same entity? Or did you pick up your mind and get entangled with how you felt? Or did you pick up your mind and you fueled the bad emotions? Or did you pick up your mind and get entangled in thinking and feeling and thinking and caused yourself to feel a certain way to convince yourself that that is how you feel and that's the end of it? Who are you that is experiencing all of this? Do you question if I am the one that is witnessing what is, what I see as thoughts, as experiences, and I never change, I stay the same as the witness? Why am I so entangled with my mind? Really see for yourself the illusion of thought, how it vanishes and it comes from nothing and it returns to nothing. Same with feelings. Where do feelings go? Or do we just generate all of them without knowing? We are a creating machine. We create thoughts, we create emotions. But everybody's taught us to say that the emotions came from outside. He made me happy. She made me sad. This object made me happy. This object made me sad. I want a much bigger and newer object. I want a newer car. I want a newer house. I want a better room. I want this. I want that. Do you really think these things come from outside of you? Like, actually? You know, it's one thing when an animal experiences a flight or fight situation and it runs away, then its nervous system calms down. Doesn't think about it anymore. But if somebody experienced a moment like that, they got fired, failed the test, or something similar, the experience happens, but they can't stop thinking about it, so they're reliving the experience over and over again. It's almost like you're carrying what you experience as your identity, you know, but yeah, we experience something good and we let it go right away. Are we just obsessed with thinking negative? Who am I that's doing this to myself? Who am I? Can words really describe who I am? Perceive the empty space that's outside of you right now, in your room, wherever you are. There's space, and then there's objects within that space. Try to look within yourself now and see that there's space within you, and that imagination and thoughts arise within it. You are a spatial awareness. You are awareness, your consciousness, you're the I am. But doesn't this mean everybody has this spatial awareness within them? This impersonal nature within them? Love your neighbors as thyself. Oh, that's what he meant. So overall, am I just deluding myself from the world? Am I just deluding myself from, loving everybody, being kind to everybody because of my own personal problems? Am I just practicing separation at this point? What am I believing myself to be? A bundle of thoughts? Thinking. Thinking happens in a second. Thoughts happen naturally. They arise. But when we react to something, let's say we drop a plate, obviously your first thought is going to be, I dropped the plate, No duh. But then there's the reaction afterwards. The first arrow was dropping the plate. The second arrow we have more control over. Same as any situation. The first arrow could be, somebody's driving too slow in front of you. There's a big line in the airport. Or, they haven't called your name up and you're waiting on an appointment. You've been there for an hour. These are the first arrows, which is thought by itself. It is what it is. But then secondary to that, there's thinking. Thinking sounds like this. Why haven't they called me yet? They're taking way too long. I need to get out of here so I could get here. Or, oh my God, I dropped these plates. Fuck. What am I going to do? What am I going to do later? What am I going to do now? Where am I going to pick my career? When am I going to be secure? And when am I going to have enough money for this? That's thinking. Know that thinking is the cause of all suffering. Thinking is not necessary to navigate through the world. You are conscious awareness. You are connected to everything. You are one with everything. You are not an isolated fragment in this world. People try to find themselves and say, oh, I can't find who I am and I can't find myself. The whole time they're trying to find themselves in a thought that vanishes, an emotion that vanishes. They try to find themselves in clothes. They try to find themselves in material things. Now imagine trying to do that. You know? How long do you think this will last? Trying to identify and find yourself in outside things. Or even thoughts and emotions, like I said. Aren't these things, temporary? Aren't these things passing by? Just like clouds? Isn't everything in this world temporary? Aren't these things gonna get old one day? This body, these objects, and vanish right where they came from, which was nothingness? You can't find yourself in concepts. You can identify with concepts. You can identify with thoughts. You could create your own character and be something, that you're proud of. But don't ever feel sad and feel stuck because you have infinite possibilities within yourself. You are not limited by anything. This is not to make you, sad or depressed. Oh, I'm nothing. Realize that if you're nothing, doesn't it give the possibility of everything? If I go in somewhere and say, oh, I'm a lawyer, I'm constricted to only being a lawyer now, right? But if you identified as pure awareness, pure consciousness, you're not identified with anything really. You're just space, at peace with everything that comes, at peace with everything that goes, unidentified with anything, and whole. You're not identified as something that's isolated with a word. You're connected to everything, and everything's connected to you. Feel the energy in your hands, in your body. Feel the tingling sensations. Who are you? Who am I? You are greater than you could believe. Experience it for yourself. Find yourself in yourself. Nowhere else. If you don't go within, you go without. Remember that. If you don't go within, you go without. And you can only find yourself within yourself. There's this quote by Rumi, and he says, I searched for God and found only myself. I searched for myself and found only God. God is within you. You and God are one. I and my Father are one. Ye are gods. Realize this. You're not limited at all. Let the stress out, let the tension out. Feel at peace with this. Don't let your mind forget this. Don't let your mind convince you that something else is more important. Learn this truth and prove this truth for yourself. Go within.